Over the past several years, communities across the country have prepared themselves to deal with all kinds of emergencies, from terrorist attacks to chemical spills and harsh weather. But it turns out that few of them have given much thought on how to handle agricultural crises. Well, NMSU is in the forefront of a national effort to put emergencies involving the food we produce and consume on the front burner for community planners. The university is leading a team that is developing a pilot program that will be put to use nationwide.
It was making headlines 8 years ago. Foot and mouth disease had struck in the United Kingdom. The crisis ended up costing that country big bucks, $4 billion in direct economic damage, and $9 billion more in harm to tourism and other related industries. It was a true agricultural emergency. Here in the U.S., since the 9/11 attack and Hurricane Katrina, we've started taking emergency preparedness more seriously. But until now, we've tended to ignore potential crises in agriculture.
It's become apparent to many of us that one of the big gaps in this country is that counties do not address agriculture security. Many of them have an all hazards plan. It's a good plan, but it's silent on agriculture.
Billy Dixon is the director of biosecurity at NMSU's College of Agriculture and helps lead NMSU's Southwest Border Food Safety and Defense Center, which was given responsibility by the State Department of Homeland Security for all training and exercises in agricultural security in New Mexico. He says many people fail to understand how vulnerable we are when it comes to agriculture.
Agriculture is number 2 in New Mexico in terms of our economy, behind the oil and gas industry, extractive industries. But yet we have found in our state that only about 2 or 3 counties out of the 33 have an existing agriculture plan until we've gone in and done some planning with them.
The numbers are big, with agriculture contributing more than $3 billion annually to the New Mexico economy. It comes from dairies, pecan farms, chili fields, processing plants, all activities that are out in the open, largely unprotected, and vulnerable to natural or man-made disasters.
Floods can be an issue, earthquakes can be an issue, electricity going out in the power grid can be an issue, and then you can get down to foreign animal diseases like foot and mouth disease and some of those which would literally shut down every dairy, for example, between Las Cruces and El Paso.
How to be prepared to deal with those kinds of emergencies?
With any kind of disease, we would feel quite a loss. We rated it at 4.
That was the topic of this 3-day workshop at New Mexico State University called Strengthening Communities Through Agro-Security Planning. It's the first of 7 pilot programs to be held across the nation this spring that will be used to develop a national model for training people in counties across the country on how to put together an agricultural preparedness plan.
This is the pilot of pilots. This is the first time this has been done.
Roberta Dwyer, a veterinarian from the University of Kentucky, is on the team of university experts that put this pilot program together.
There were other, priorities.
Another team member from the same university says it's a project that's overdue.
It's probably something that lags behind a little bit because the agricultural community is very independent and has dealt with natural disasters for many years and really hasn't looked at needing help from the outside world.
He was wondering if we would reevaluate now.
But after going through this program, these participants are finding out their communities need a formal plan for agricultural disasters. They are from 7 southwestern New Mexico counties: extension agents, emergency response personnel, farmers, ranchers, industry leaders, law enforcement officers, health administrators. They are all here to learn how they can work together to develop a plan that will work in their communities. In this session, the teams are setting agricultural priorities.
Well, what they're talking about right now is actually working through what capabilities do each community have to respond to, a mass event with animals or crops or, a food recall, food poisoning type of issue. And what we're going to be working through until the end of tomorrow is getting down to the absolute nitty-gritty of here are standard operating procedures on how to deal with an animal disease or an animal emergency or an invasive pest to crops that would originate in this county or you'd have to respond to. So it goes from the big picture down to here's the steps that you need to take to start the plan.
Agricultural security has really been ignored.
For this participant, it was an eye-opener. Tom Townsend is the Emergency Management Supervisor for Las Cruces and Doña Ana County, who admits that, until now, ag emergencies were not really on his department's radar screen.
I don't think it's been established as a priority. We really didn't understand the vulnerability potentially to the economy and to the food chain for our community. New Mexico State University is providing leadership so that we have a clear understanding of the potential economic impacts now, at least. Emergency medical services, fire, law enforcement, public health, really engage in this sort of planning every day. But now we're really talking about bringing in our ranchers, our dairy farmers, all of our livestock managers, potentially all of our crop management personnel from the agricultural side, really getting us together kind of as a disparate group and really starting to plan together. We're beginning to understand how broad the resources are that we're really going to need to manage one of these emergencies.
Townsend says he's ready to get to work on updating this region's emergency operations plan with agricultural concerns.
They're going to come out with the skeleton of a plan. They're probably going to come out with more questions. You know, who do I call? What do we do? What can we do? What would be the appropriate response? But they're going to come out with some good ideas of the information they need to have to go into that plan, and they're also going to come out with a good collaborative response, because this is a regional group of folks. So regionally, resources might be available that you don't have in your particular county. So those sort of things are real powerful tools. And then they'll go home and spend some time with pen and paper and be able to develop this plan with all the information that they've gathered here.
So as you're thinking about vulnerabilities...
But the organizers of the workshop aren't leaving empty-handed either. They are gathering valuable feedback from the pilot conference and will get more at the next 6 events before drawing up a final training model that can hopefully be put to use nationwide.
We're creating the model. There's been a lot of interest. We're trying to get Department of Homeland Security, USDA, and others to let the Cooperative Extension Service sort of take a leadership role in this, because we have folks in every county in America, and they can do this exact same thing that we're doing in the room here in their state and do some training. They can do it basically for free. It doesn't cost a lot of money.
There is, of course, some money involved in putting this project together. It's coming from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through the Extension Service and the Extension Disaster Education Network.